The quantum sensors at Nexus Station 7 registered the impossible signature at 14:32 Galactic Standard Time. Captain Thexara's forearms moved frantically across her control panels, her chitinous exoskeleton clicking with nervous energy as she verified the readings for the 7th time in as many minutes. "Impossible," she muttered in her native Kitharan tongue before switching to Standard Galactic. Communications, raise Emergency Council Channel 1. Priority, Alpha Black. Within moments, the holographic forms of the galaxy's most powerful military commanders materialized around her command center. Admiral Zeph Torn of the Vegan Commonwealth flickered into view first, his crystalline features reflecting the red emergency lighting. General Mordock of the Centaurian Defense Force appeared next, followed by the ethereal presence of High Commander Isthala from the Outer Rim Coalition. Report. Admiral Zeph Torn's voice resonated with harmonic overtones that made the station's hull vibrate. Captain Thexara's primary arms gestured toward the massive tactical display dominating her bridge. "Sirs, we have a confirmed vessel signature in Sector 2847 null." The silence that followed was profound enough to hear the quantum processors humming in the station's core. Sector 2847 null wasn't just restricted, it was forbidden. For over 3,000 years, no vessel from any civilized species had entered that region of space and returned to tell about it. The sector existed in a state of temporal spatial flux, where the laws of physics bent and twisted into configurations that drove even artificial intelligences to madness. General Mordock's warrior caste marking pulsed a deep crimson. "Identification? That's the problem, General." Thexara's voice cracked slightly. "The signature matches a human vessel. Designation UES Persistence. But according to our records, that ship was destroyed 14 months ago during the Proxima incident." High Commander Isthala's gaseous form swirled with agitation. "Impossible. I personally oversaw the recovery of that vessel's quantum black box. There were no survivors." The tactical display zoomed in on the Forbidden Zone, revealing a patchwork of space where stars appeared to exist in multiple positions simultaneously, where nebulae flowed backward through time, and where the very concept of distance became meaningless. Deep within this chaos, a single contact blinked steadily, unmistakably human in design, yet somehow wrong in ways their instruments couldn't quantify. Dr. Velnara, the galaxy's leading expert on temporal anomalies, materialized in the growing holographic circle. Her three heads spoke in unison, each representing a different temporal perspective. "If it's truly the persistence, we're dealing with either resurrection technology beyond our understanding, or a temporal paradox that could unravel causality itself." The human ship had appeared exactly at the coordinates where the ancient architect ruins lay buried in folded space-time. The architects, who had vanished eons before any current species achieved spaceflight, had left behind structures that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously. Their ruins were scattered throughout the forbidden zones of the galaxy, and every attempt to study them had resulted in either complete annihilation or worse, crews returning fundamentally changed. Speaking of truths that drove listeners insane, Captain Sarah Chen had been the commander of the Persistence. Thexara remembered her from the diplomatic briefings, a small woman with steady eyes and the peculiar human trait of finding humor in desperate situations. Chen had volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission, investigating distress signals from the edge of known space. The signals had been coming from within a forbidden zone. "Sir," Thexara's communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from the contact." Every being in the holographic conference tensed. Admiral Zeph Torn's crystalline structure began to resonate at a frequency that made nearby equipment whine. "Impossible. Nothing transmits from within the forbidden zones." The interference. It's coming through clear, Admiral. Audio and visual. The main display flickered, and Captain Sarah Chen appeared on screen. She looked exactly as she had 14 months ago, except for her eyes. Her eyes now held depths that seemed to contain multiple universes, and when she smiled, the expression held knowledge that mortal minds weren't meant to comprehend. "Hello, Command," Chen said, her voice carrying harmonics that shouldn't have been possible through the comm system. "I'm calling to report that the Persistence has successfully completed its mission." General Mordak leaned forward. "Captain Chen," Chen's smile widened, and for a moment, her image flickered between existing and not existing. "Yes, that's correct. The Persistence was destroyed. It was also not destroyed. Both statements are equally true from where I'm sitting." Dr. Velnara's three heads began speaking in different languages simultaneously, each trying to process what they were witnessing. "Captain, what did you find in there?" "We found the architects," Chen replied simply. "Or rather, they found us. They've been waiting. Did you know that consciousness doesn't follow the same rules as matter? That awareness can exist in states that make physical death irrelevant?" The transmission began to break up, showing Chen's image splitting into multiple versions of herself, some younger, some older, some appearing to be made of pure light, others seeming to exist as living equations. The forbidden zones aren't barriers. All versions of Chen spoke in unison. They're nurseries. The architects weren't destroyed. They evolved beyond physical existence. And now, so have we. Captain Thexara's sensors showed something impossible. The Persistence was simultaneously approaching Nexus Station 7 and departing deeper into the Forbidden Zone. The ship existed in multiple states of being, its quantum signature suggesting it had become something that transcended normal space-time. "Captain Chen," Admiral Zeftorn transmitted, "what are your intentions?" The multiple versions of Chen looked directly at each camera with eyes that seemed to see through dimensional barriers. "We're coming home. All of us. Every version that ever was or ever will be. Humanity is ready for the next phase of galactic evolution, and we're bringing the tools to make it happen." The transmission ended, leaving the assembled commanders staring at a blank screen. The Persistence's signature vanished from their sensors, but reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Human ships that had been lost in forbidden zones for decades were appearing at the edges of civilized space, their crews reporting successful missions and carrying technologies that defied understanding. As Captain Thexara filed her report, she realized that the galaxy's greatest question wasn't whether the Persistence had survived, it was whether survival, as they understood it, was even relevant anymore. The humans had found something in the forbidden zones that changed the very nature of existence itself.